Okay, so it's 10 after 4 on the 22nd, which is Saturday. That's funny because right as I was thinking, what was the date again? Even though I just looked, it popped up on the TV. It is so weird. Yesterday, my brother had come and I got my chair. I got 2 new chairs. And so that's why I'm sitting in a different spot because I got my nice new chair. My throat is killing me. It's been like yesterday in the, it was like, I don't know, I'd been up for a little while and then I just kept getting this worse headache and worse headache. The anxiety is just like crazy. But I was getting, and I guaranteed you're going to hear a lot of farting. Like these dogs are just blowing up this place, man. So crazy. And fucking Ruthie, she's got gaseous stomach. And she's got an injury. They were all getting injured yesterday. And my brother's dog is kind of a mean one, Mr. Cringe. And Stella got a bite. I come in, and I didn't realize. I thought she just wanted to get away from his dog because she's snappy. And so I thought Stella just come in. When I came in here to do something, there was like blood everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I start trying to clean that up, trying to find, and through all her hair, I can't even find anything. So it's got to be really small. But yeah, she doesn't want anything to do with that dog. And then Gracie or Ruthie was trying to jump up on my brother when he was doing his trailer, and his dog just woo comes at her. So she flies back, and he said hit her face right on the trailer hitch. So she's got a cut here and a cut here. It's like, I think she almost looks like she has a black eye. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Max was getting attacked and he was screaming. I got him in, and then Archie was out there playing with them, and then Archie got snapped at, and so it was just injury after injury. It was like, but it was a very hostile kind of dog day. But she didn't have any accidents, but the day before she was accident prone, man. It's like a step forward, 2 steps back, step forward, 2 steps back. But but my brother came to bring the chairs, and and his dog came, and he had to get his trailer because they were going back. I'm going to be out here now by myself until sometime next year when they start coming back again. But they won't be back until next year. And I said, when I was talking to him, I said, unless flood happens, because there's supposedly this big flood that's supposed to be happening in California. That's like, they are saying like trillions of gallons of water are going to fall on them, which I thought that's kind of humorous. That's kind of ironic how the universe gives a little payback, because California has always been in a water shortage, and the way that the system tries to short us out on resources and stuff, it's like that makes sense. The universe would come in and like, oh, we got a water shortage here. We could give you 1 trillion gallons. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to play out. It's just like everything is looming. We got all this stuff looming on us. So no telling. But anyways, I was like, oh, if the big one comes, you guys could be back here in a couple weeks. So I guess we'll see what happens. So, anyways, but I was getting a worse and worse headache, and I had my hair like in a low bun kind of thing back here. And so I was like, oh, maybe it's that. It's like pulling. So I took it out, and my headache just kept going and going. But then my throat started, and it was like, fuck, what the fuck is up with my throat, man? And I swear to God, I did not see spraying. But I guess one thing that people have been finding out is that a lot can be done at night. And so you may not know, and you open, and it is like, what is this? Foggy cold kind of thing. And go out and then breathe in whatever in the density of the fog. So I don't know. But I definitely don't feel good. My throat is fucking killing me. And I this morning I put Manuka honey. I think it's called Manuka. Manuka honey in my tea because it's supposed to heal everything. And then I also, my ginger honey that I made, and so I've been putting a ton of that in my tea. I also took some Celtic salt, and so I don't know. I don't know if it's, because where did I go? I don't interact with it, you know. I don't have kids coming in bringing sickness. I don't have, and then plus when the dogs start having like, you know, mucus coming, like I think it's some kind of, you know, allergy situation. I don't know, but my throat's fucking killing me. So I don't even know how long I'm going to be talking because it hurts. The, what was I going to say? Everything is weird. That's for fucking sure. And, oh yeah, because there's this video that I had seen. Oh, I want to show this first, though. I was looking at it, and I was thinking, okay, so it's kind of like if this was the thing, it's like building up on this side, but this hole is going back. So it seems like one side is building up, so the hole is getting smaller. And it's so weird how to go through these waves of being super sensitive. So to be like, fine, like right now it's fine. And then it will go into some kind of thing where it's so sensitive. Man, that last time when it was being sensitive, it was like you just barely touched it. And it was like, oh my God, I felt like electricity going through me. So anyways, right now it's being okay. And my hair too, which look at, I mean, surely you can see how this is yellowing. And yesterday too, my brother was here. He was like, well, if I put on that filtering system, that stuff has to move because it's pretty big. And I said, well, I don't want to do that yet because it's changing my hair. And if it's changing my hair, obviously I have a deficiency. So I said, I want to just leave it. And he didn't say, yeah, what do you mean? What are you So I think it's becoming like noticeable or something because, yeah, but surely you can see how it's like getting darker. It's not so like white. I don't know how slow it's going to go. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be gone by Thanksgiving, but I bet you it's going to be for sure by the end of the year. But we'll see. But I definitely think it is very noticeable. Oh yeah, and then all these little hairs. It's not like I'm growing, you know, tons. I mean, even all this stuff I take, my eyelashes, it's not like my eyelashes are growing a lot or whatever. I swear to God, I think my face hair does, though. But anyways, I just got to remind myself, well, we're animals. We are mammals of some type. We're supposed to be a little hairy. So, anyways, let me think, because there was, that one's worthy. She just been going and going all morning. But, so is Archie. So, I don't know, a little tooty-booty situation going on. It used to, too, when she very first, she would look back like, what was that? Now she's just like, yeah, it's me. Don't worry about it. And she can't stink up a room, too. So, let me think what I was going to say. Because there was this video I was going to make a comment about. There's so many freaking things going on, man. This world is just so fucking wacky. And, also this, whatever her name is, Marsh something Green, you know, she had, in the beginning, she like interjected herself, it seemed like, into the MAGA thing. She was like, oh, you know, Donald and all this stuff. She was just so over the top. I thought this is a little extreme. It's a little over the top. And it's very, you know, I'm going to interject myself. I'm going to be in there and be a part of this. And Mary Taylor Greene, whatever her fucking name is. And so then she went against Donald. And now she is she's coming out and saying she's going to run for president or whatever. And I heard now she's quitting the Senate or something. And she is, there's nobody, there's nobody that's, what was it? She didn't say there's nobody there to save you. She said, there isn't somebody who's trying to fix things, you know, like how we've all thought. And I don't remember if in the beginning she was talking about the letter, because I think a lot of stuff where, you know, you get these people, oh, it's a psyop, it's a psyop. Well, it's a pretty intricate psyop, because it had so many, I just don't think it is. And so, because it was so much about getting us to question our reality, and that's the important part of the awakening. So I don't see how that's a psyop. I mean, it got a lot of people to question reality. It's like if you go too hard in it, though, and you just get yourself stuck, that's an issue. But I don't know. I mean, I know Donald is a catalyst. I know that he is doing things to shake things up. And you know, all these people are all outraged because now these professions aren't professional. And he thinks, you know, it's time to, you know, the consequences for the crimes need to be happening. And the people, like there's this person who was like arguing with me or something, because I said something about like the people with these jobs, that they don't realize that these jobs are going to be obsolete. That this person starts arguing with me, and she's like, oh, well, who's going to be wiping their butts? There still needs to be somebody, like, not technology can't do everything. It's like, you just, like, it's like, I can't go back to the drawing board with you. It's like, okay, whatever, think what you want to think. But the people don't realize, like, in a society where they're trying to keep us sick and trying to keep us small, trying to keep us controlled, which there's a whole new fucking thing. I've been saying this for so long about them controlling our movement and stuff. And now they've been finding there's cameras and sensors and stuff all over the system and freeways and stuff like that, of how they're tracking us and watching us and stuff like that. So I knew that that was right. I knew that was true. But so she said that, oh, you know, somebody's got to wipe their butts. But this is the part that is like people don't realize. So there was a group of people, you know, like the Child of Rock, the Fellows of the Rock, that they, and that, you know, all their cohorts and stuff, that they profit off of us being sick. Like, you know, this bullshit being, and, you know, because we run to the doctor and then they make sure to always give you a little white piece of paper. And so we, and some of those little white pieces of paper have, multiple. And one thing too that is going on right now, lots of people are getting things from their insurance company that they were paying like astronomical fees for insurance, like $700 a month, and now it's going up to like $1,600. People are freaking out. But this is a part of the awakening thing of it, how we have to see how it's blowing up, but we're not going to need that stuff. That stuff is leaving, just like these jobs are leaving. And it's like you don't need somebody to wipe your ass when you're healthy. It's like they have been doing all of this to keep us sick. We're going into, they're going to bring forth technology. Like there's going to be a lot of technology. A lot of jobs will go to technology because they don't need a human to do some of these jobs. It's just a way to keep us busy work, to keep us just going and going, and to keep us distracted in life, to keep us too busy to think. So we're just, you know, they created us to be, they made us into robots. But now, now the robots are some types of technology. It's not necessarily just robots are going to be walking around doing all our jobs, but there's going to be technology is going to elevate so that jobs that don't need us to do them will be taken over by other like computer systems or something. So technology will take a lot of jobs, but the med beds and healthy living is going to cut out a lot of people's jobs. It's going to become obsolete. And even, you know, like with the mental health counselors and stuff like that, because they are a product of their environment. They teach the ways of the fellers that rock and the child of rock. They teach their ways. That's what they were taught. So it's not really I mean, they're taught like, you know, schizophrenics are crazy. It's like, no, we're not. It is, so it's like a flipping. They're misinformed, and they're teaching us all to be misinformed or with their misinformation. So that has to flip. And more, I think more people who, you know, it's about mind, body, spirit. It's going to be a whole new way of thinking. And then once we go through with med beds and stuff, is it's also us, our new way of thinking, and realizing that we can take care of ourselves and stuff like that. And so a lot of things are going to change, you know, and we're not going to need all of these professions. And this is kind of like edging them to be like, well, now what am I going to do? I got to do something different. Like where you just locked in, you were just planning on everybody just being sick and getting sicker because that's what you based your whole future on. It's like, well, you know, the universe is going to knock your socks off. Then you got to let go of this stuff. You got to see sometimes jobs are important and then sometimes they're not. Like we shift, we move, we don't just stay one thing. And so, but of course, you know, it's Donald's fault. And so they gotta blame everything on him. And, you know, he's the destructor. It's like, well, he's the one who is taking down the bad guys. It's like he's been saying it since like, I think it was like 2014 when he first came out and said he was going to run. And he started talking about this. And at the time, you know, like the drain and the swamp and stuff sounded like, what the hell is he talking about? But, you know, if you pay attention or you followed the letter or any of that stuff, then you start realizing like, oh, we got ourselves in a mess here. And even some politician came out the other day and said, you know, we don't have a swamp, we have a sewer. He said swamps can be nice. We're in a sewer system. So we, you know, we do have bullshit. We're surrounded with bullshit and creeps and pervs. And so, you know, that all has to go. And I don't know, whatever Taylor Green, whatever her name is, I don't know if she is also an instigator to get us to a catalyst, to get us to have a conversation, bring attention to certain situations. I don't know. It all remains to be seen what her deal is. If she's, you know, everybody's being exposed for, if you're a bad guy, it's going to come out and people are going to see. That one lady, that teacher lady, she lost her job apparently. And I can't even imagine, like, some things people want to keep behind closed doors. They don't want people to know. And now fucking everybody knows. You go to the grocery store, everybody knows. You go anywhere you go. It doesn't even matter if you try to move to a new state. Everybody knows. So, anyways, let me think. Okay, so these jobs, they would be obsolete, but we don't need them anymore because we're healthy. And so all of these things will be unnecessary. So we're going to be going into being a healthier society that we don't depend on other people to, you know, write us little white pieces of paper or talk us off a fucking cliff or whatever. So all of that is in a shift. And, but you can't get these people to understand what's going on. You can't get them to understand The med beds are going to make a big difference. The technology and the patents and stuff that have been hidden in order to keep us trapped in the hamster wheel of their system was, you know, that's the shift. We're shifting to see the truth. And this is something too. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can only say what I see. I can only say how, you know, through my vision, what it is that I see. And there, another video I saw of this person saying that about the trap, the reincarnation trap. And so in their explanation, when you die, so you're leaving this reality, and then your light body starts exiting the realm and goes into the light, and then to the light, then other you know, people who you know and stuff start being there, and that is your, I don't know, your welcome committee, but it is also where you give yourself like you what is that word, you accept that realm, that space. So you go into that because it's like they are there, so then you willingly go. And once you go, then you go into this life review thing, which I know that's true. And but once you go in the life review thing, you're these fucking bugs, man. The life review thing, then you, and I swear to God, it's something with the energy. I swear, I just feel so certain of it now. But so you accept this, and you go into this, which is like, so you go to your life review, and then it's like, okay, well, I failed, so now I got to go back, and I got to go do this other thing, and I got to go do this other thing. So it's like being trapped in a system, and that's where I don't see it that way. And I know there's other people who see it that way. I know there's people who feel that way and stuff. I don't see it that way, and I see it way more of, in order to really learn something, you have to see it from multiple perspectives. You don't get the full view by going in and doing one life that has, like, you are still only seeing it from one perspective. The way you see things and the way you actually grow is to be able to see it from multiple perspectives. And even when you go to your life review and you see it from other people's perspective, that is still just a perspective. In order to go in and see it through more perspectives, you go through to access the different ride. So it's like, so you want it, so there is a new roller coaster in town, and you want to go and ride that roller coaster. Well, you want to see what it is from each seat. You want to see, like, well, is it different on this ride? Is it different on this ride? Well, if I'm sitting here, is it different? And so you want to experience it fully by going in every seat. That's more how I see reincarnation, is like you're trying to learn and expand yourself as a being. And so you want to learn everything from every perspective. You want to see it from all directions. So it's not like, you know, you're trapped. And then, like I've said before, once you go out from the going, like reincarnating is, gives you something to do. It's like it's what, for the soul, it is way more of like a going on a vacation. It's like how we go on vacation or something. It gives us something to do. We want to go out and go somewhere and experience things. We want to go see what it's like here, see what it's like there. And that is what the soul does in order to reincarnate, is to give it experience so it can see what happens there, see what goes there. What do I do over here? What do I do over there? And so it is not like, so many of these people just look at it as like this prison. And then, but what happens then when you leave the prison? Then where are you going? How do you go and experience yourself? You got to go in some kind of thing. And so it's some realms, even in um uh, like I've said this before, but so like you say, you want to go into, you want to stay in the higher realms, which, a lot of people are from the higher realms. And so then they feel burdened or beat down by life, which is a perspective. And so when, an experience to see sides of yourself. And so, then you say, okay, well, I'm going to go up and I'm just going to go live in the Pleiades. The Pleiades is always one where I think of because it's higher, higher vibrating place where there's not a lot of problems, not a lot of trouble. And so, and you can live a long, long, long time. And I don't know what it, the whole experience is, to be there, but so you can go to those places in higher vibration places and live in those realities. But is like when you're there and there's no challenges, everything is just simple and easy. There's no challenges. At some point there would be like a lack of growth, kind of. Like, I don't know. I mean, they could very well be growing all the time. They could very well be, watching the shows of the reincarnators and growing, learning from their stuff. But it's not a big challenging thing that goes on in the higher vibrations. But you have to meet that energy of love and acceptance. You can't bring in the energy of division, hierarchy, judgment, bitterness. And so you can't bring that energy into those places. And if you carry that energy, it has to be purged. And confirmation. And then, so it has to be purged out of you. You can't take it up there. And so when you are in those realities that are higher vibration, you can stay there a long, long time, but still you're going into some type of reality to experience yourself, to find yourself. It's like you got to find a mirror somewhere to look at to make sure that you're real. It's kind of like that, you want to, you could go around just feeling yourself, but at some point you want to look at yourself and see, what you look like. Where are you? What are you doing? And you know what's also kind of strange, I think? It's kind of weird. Because I have this mirror that I put in the bathroom. And it's a tall mirror, but I don't have it on the stand. So it's sitting on the floor because the stand took up too much room. And so it's just flat up against the wall. And the dogs, in particular, Ruthie, she just kept going in there. She's always looking for me. If I go out of the room, she starts looking in the mirror to try and find me. And this mirror, though, is up on a thing. She'll knock everything over trying to look, and she'll cry and have a fit. And but lately, Stella keeps going in there and looking in that mirror. It's like, it's so weird. I wonder what it's like to them to look in the mirror. Because sometimes Ruthie will just be in there. She'll just be in there just looking at herself. And I'm sure she's looking at the room too. Maybe she's trying to understand, how is it that I can see the room from here? How is it I can see, I don't even know. Does she realize that she's looking at herself? Yeah, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's just so weird because it's this whole thing that keeps going all of a sudden with the mirror. I've never had this go with the mirror before. The little dogs don't seem to be interested in any of the mirror situation, but definitely the two girls, they are very much like going and looking. And I keep on finding Stella. I mean, she keeps going in there and just standing there in front of the mirror and looking. It's like, it's so weird. But anyways, but you got to think about the soul. It also wants to see itself. It wants to understand itself. And so that is what, to me, you got to think more about reincarnating as an adventure in order to be able to see yourself. It's a way to look at yourself. And it's not a punishment. Like, there's no God up there punishing you. And it's like being able to have a mirror to look at yourself. And no matter what level that you want to look at yourself, but also when you go into these lower ones where you get trapped into the darkness and you create this karmic bonds with others, that's also a challenge to get yourself out of it. So it's like, okay. So let's say, yeah, so let's say there's a person in this world and that they, okay, so like something I used to find challenging, like, like when a bunch of necklaces get all wadded up together and they just become all knotted. Well, I would find that challenging to get to get it back to where they were all separated. So I would sit there and go through these knots and going and taking them apart. Okay, so let me see how that goes in together. Okay, so take somebody who is able to go in and do something different that other people don't want to do. Well, that is kind of what life is all about, is creating karma for yourself and getting yourself out of these entanglements. It elevates you. It creates you to be more gifted in some area. And that is what the soul enjoys, is evolving, becoming more than it was yesterday, always growing and expanding, because that is the energy of the universe. So the soul doesn't look at it the same way as what it feels like when you're in the experience. When you're in the experience, it feels overwhelming and stuff because you get too evolved or too involved in the experience, where it becomes a handicap. But when you go to another level of the experience and you look at it as an opportunity to grow and to become better at certain things, and so the karma is like getting yourself tangled in the knots, but then you work your way out of it, then you become expertise. You become an expert of being able to find your way out of the challenges. And so a lot of beings don't want to come into those type of challenges because it can be so all-consuming, but it is but they can also learn from it and stuff. But there is but it isn't the way that I hear some of these people explain it. It's like the soul is it may, okay, it kind of reminds me of like when I'm doing a painting and there is like a point when you are in this painting where it's like, what am I doing? Like, where am I going with this? Like, just like when I was talking about the moving and stuff, there's a point in the creation of feeling overwhelmed. Like, I don't even know if I can do this. I don't know if I can get through this. I don't know how I'm going to even accomplish this. And so it can be overwhelming at that point where you don't see the end result, and you feel kind of absorbed into the creation, and you don't know that you can accomplish what it is that you set out to accomplish. And so it can overwhelm you. So I would think that is kind of an energy at some points that the ego feels when it is in the midst of the turmoil of experience in the reincarnation cycle. But it isn't that it is trapped there forever, but it can get itself very entangled into situations. And but as it learns to let go of situations and move out of them, then that is conquering, it's championing, it's overcoming. So it's an expansion. And the ego, because you got to think of the ego as the soul, it is looking to find that balance in itself. It is so it's like meeting up to a challenge, and it's like it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's kind of like certain souls become kind of like warriors of experience, and that they are they go through these things, and they expand and they grow from the experiences. But it isn't like, I mean, at certain points maybe they do get like overwhelmed, and but when you come out of it, it isn't like you have to go right back into the whole thing. I mean, there is the gray halls or whatever. There's the points of existence where you can just level out, and but I kind of like, it's almost like the higher vibration lifestyles could seem boring after a while. Like, there's not, if you're a soul that likes to grow and evolve and expand, because that is the realms of expansion, is the being able to overcome the situations, because you expand yourself by growing and letting go of all of the entanglements. This concept of karma, what you create in this going through the experiences when you have a lack of knowledge. But the more that you identify in yourself, and the more knowledge that you are able to adhere, like pull into yourself, then the more that you expand and elevate yourself. And so it's, I don't know, for certain souls it's like a win-win, and it's not like a bad thing. And you always hear these people like, you got to get out of the trap, you got to get out of the trap. It's like, but why do you look at it as a trap? Why do you look at it as like, like you were sucked in and someone forced you to reincarnate, force you into this horrible life? And it's like, I don't see it like that. I don't see that, and maybe I'm the one who's lost. Maybe, we're all just in hell, and we're just forced to live these horrible things, and we're just trying to escape to get to the great void. I don't know. I just look at it different. I look at it like I've been explaining, is that, there's the vibration, and then darker, heavier. So you say like the low tone of vibration. And what was this too? I was just seeing yesterday, something talking about the quantum theory of threads or something. And the threads, when they're slowed down, is what creates matter. And when they speed up, then that, goes. And that's kind of like what our world is doing right now. Which last night, this was weird. This was so weird. My dreams are weird anyways. Like last night, it was like I was someplace with some people having this experience. And it was really weird. And there's always like these ways of learning from the experience too. But it was really weird. And then, but there was this one point, because Stella woke me up out of that one dream, which was like, another reason why I just feel so fucking out of it as usual. And sometimes I start feeling like, is she waking me up to get me out of this dream? Like, is she pulling me out for a reason? It's like, does she know? It's weird. because it's all the time, man. And then, but, so the thread of the dream, oh yeah, okay, so, but this was like, I don't know if she like made some noise or something. It seems like something woke me up for a second. And maybe there was a noise or something. Something woke me up for a second. And I opened my eyes and I looked at the room and this weird sound. And it was almost like the room like hiccuped or something. And then I was like, well, what the fuck was that? It was like, I don't know, like this glitchy hiccup thing in the room. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And then I was like, so I started thinking and I went right back into dreaming. And I was like, I wonder if that was, oh, can you hear it? Listen. That's the coyotes. If you can hear it over all the snoring and farting. We're right there. My God, it's so fucking creepy. Oh, God. It's gotta be like, oh, see, I must have got something. And then yesterday morning, I go out and it's just like, well, that's when the dogs wanted to go out because there was so much shooting. It was like, just hit into the side of the building. Fuck, man. It's so dark out, too. God, that just creeps me the fuck out. So then yesterday morning when I went out, there was so much shooting. It was like dogs were they were jumping up and they were like, there was so much shooting. So as soon as it starts being dawn, the shooting goes. And I was like, what is it hunting? And so I was trying to look it up and it was like, it was so hard to figure. But I did a video, showed it, and somebody was saying it's duck and geese season, which it was, I kept on thinking it's got to be ducks. Because it sounds like it's by the water, but then there's also that little island over there that they hunt, and deers and stuff like that. And so I don't know. There was so much shooting though, and then a goose, one singular goose, flew over me, squawking. I was like, oh my God, people just don't even like. I hope its partner didn't get killed. Like these things, they are mated for life. And then when you kill their mate, I don't understand how humans are so lack of compassion of other living things. It's so sad. But then these predatory animals, but I know like they have to eat to survive. And they celebrate when they get some food. I don't know what it is that they caught out there. I know there's lots of gophers. And I guess apparently there's weasels and stuff. I don't know. Are they catching birds and eating them? And then my brother said they're about to come this week and put out the owl house. So they put out a house for an owl, and then the owl comes and takes residence. And then, but they do that around here to cut down on gophers. But I don't know what the fuck the coyotes eat. I just don't want him eating like Archie and stuff. And Archie always goes back to this back dark corner to go to the bathroom, just where it just sounded like they were. So, I don't know. It's fucking, nature is intense. And humans are, I don't know, we're pretty predatory. You know, there's some people are like, well, I'm going to cook the goose anyways. We're going to eat it for Thanksgiving. You know, we're going to get fresh goose. It's like, we like duck or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I know things are going to be changing. I know we're not, this is the low vibration lifestyle. This isn't where we're going. And that's the thing, is a lot of people like these lifestyles. They want to stay in them. Well, you can't experience them unless you're in the lower vibration. And so that would be like why you go in and reincarnate. You want to see these different sides of yourself. You want to understand yourself. You want to be the hunter and you want to be the hunted. You want to see it from all different perspectives, because being the hunted gives you a whole nother version of what it is to be the hunter. So everything is about learning and experiencing. And so in the heavier, darker realms, that is the space where there is a lack of empathy, because the empathy to that of the darker beings is it is something, it's like an obstacle that holds you back. If you care about others, then you become weak. So it is a strength in the dark to have a lack of empathy. And then so in this realm, they're like teaching us that kind of, or they're bringing it out in us, of this hierarchy, judgment, lack of empathy, no sympathy, hatefulness, all of that stuff. But for the souls of the light, it is a hardship. And then when they pass from this realm and they go through their life review and they see what they've done, and then, there's also these entanglements that are created, is when they see what they have done, they feel shame and guilt. They don't like it because they aren't of the dark. They are of the light. But they go in and they learn from both sides. So you get a bigger view of things. You get to understand yourself in more deeper, complex way, which then puts the dark and the light inside of you. And then you have to find the balance. And your balance is what leads you to your vibration. So it's how you align is where your vibration is. And so there's, everything to vibrate, every opportunity of vibration out there. And you go through your experiencing and where you vibrate. And so this is a big elevation that is happening right now from the dark to the light. And it's going to be very much like this flipping. We're like in the dark and then suddenly we're in the light. And we are going into that now. And that's why so many people or so many experiences have to do with you cannot be hidden anymore. You are being revealed in a very harsh, dramatic way for a lot of people when they are trying to hide who they really are. That's why it's always best. Like when people are hiding who they are, essentially they're almost being like liars. It's almost like they're just fake and phony. So the more authentic you are, the less you have to hide. The more real you are, the less you have to hide. And this was something when I was a kid. Not only was my mom very big on, we were told all the time that liars are the biggest pieces of shit in the whole world. If you're a liar, you're just a rotten person. And so that was, indoctrinated into my brain. But the thing that got me, and I think it was probably her big thing, was based on my dad, because he was, he was a liar, because he was always covering what he was doing, because he was kind of a snake in the grass. He was shady. And so he was always covering what he was doing. But that didn't mean he was all just a bad guy. That's the thing, is we're more than one thing. And but he did have a big part of that in our experience. But we, learn from it. And so then is it really a negative or is it a positive? Because you're learning from it. So is it? And so but one thing that I was always thinking is like, I didn't understand liars, because it was like, how do you even keep your story straight? That would drive you crazy. You're constantly having to keep your story straight and keep this persona going. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like too much work to me. And it's like, yeah, I'm not into lying and liars and stuff like that. But I've been in lots of relationships with liars. And I just, it's not something that I really understand. It's what's the point? What's the point? It's like, it's so much simpler just to show yourself. And another thing about lies is it always comes out. It always comes out. You cannot, it always comes out. And so what are you really doing? So anyways, that's how I look at it. And that's what I think keeps me more on, like, it's better just to be honest from the get, just say whatever from the start, just be real. And at this point in time, I think that those of us who feel that are in alignment with that, that it is, it's like a little bit simpler because we don't have a lot to hide. We're just being ourselves. And the people who have a lot to hide, who are going out in the world and trying to put on a mask and carry a persona that they feel is acceptable, then they've got more to overcome. One thing about, when you're putting out a persona you feel is acceptable is you got to remember you're the one judging yourself. You're the one who's come up with the idea that you're not acceptable. It's like you may not be everybody's cup of tea, but that is to do with vibration. Some people don't get you. Some people think you're weird. It's like, well, we aren't on the same vibe. We're not on the same wavelength. We don't resonate. But there is people out there who do jive with you. They resonate with you. They get you. You get each other because you are on the same vibration. So it's, you want to find the people who are on your same vibration. You got to put yourself out there. But at this point in time, people have developed such a false self that you got to break it down. That's the healing part. You got to break through. You got to figure out, like, well, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Who am I trying to be? Who am I trying to please? What am I trying to get accomplished here? And because we have developed so much toxic behaviors in our relationships and, our identities. And so that's what you got to break through in order to become your truth, yourself. And there's a lot to, learning how to accept yourself and being able to move forward with that. Acceptance is the loving and stuff. So when you can't love yourself, you can't love other people. You can't, you've got a hardship. So you got to break through those patterns and figure out, like, what is my holdup? What's holding me back? And so much of it has to do with you judging yourself, you not feeling good enough, you not feeling acceptable. And then that comes into the whole point of your own shame and guilt of not feeling like you're good enough. And where does it come from? Why do I feel this way? Well, then when you track it back, a lot of it goes backwards into other existences, other places that you're not even in that place anymore. And you carry it. You carry it in your code. You carry it in your DNA. You carry it on your back. You put it in your luggage and you take it from life to life. And that's what, a lot of people feel like it's such a burden. But really, the soul doesn't look at it like that. The soul enjoys, I think the soul enjoys going and experiencing different experiences. But the soul enjoys the expansion, the learning. It enjoys that's like the mind. Like what if you have the great mind of the universe, and then, everybody was like, well, I don't want to go learn anything. Fuck, it's way too hard. I'm not going to do that. What happens to the mind? What happens to our mind when we stop working on it? What happens when we stop learning? What happens when we stop expanding our thoughts, our perspectives and stuff? Then we like dry up. It's a handicap. So the universe and the souls don't look at it the same way. Is like, it's, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that ever again. It's like, well, what happens then? What happens to the great mind? What happens to the universe? It just dries up and ceases to exist. It's played out. It's done. So, yeah, I really, really do not think that us being souls look at anything at reincarnation the way that humans try and conceptualize why we would be doing this. And to me, it's like a way of life. It's a way to be alive. It's a way of existing. And it's a way of expansion. And the great mind, the universe, wants to expand. It wants to learn and feel and experience more and more and more and more. And to me, we are the energy behind that. We're like the synapse of experience. And so we have an important role of the expansion of the great mind in order to for us to exist, gives knowledge. So I think that we look at it a lot different. You know, when you are in your real life, which is what we consider dead, when we are in our real existence, when we're our orb form, then I think we look at it much different than when we're in the human experience or any other kind of being, because you can be all sorts of beings. Like, fuck, I imagine there's a lot of dogs right now that are like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Lots of animals, lots of, you know, like, to go in and experience all these different life cycles and what it is to be this and what it is to be that and what does this feel like, what does that feel like. You know, because that's another thing too. People think animals are like different kinds of souls. No, you can have a fucking person who is a human who wants to go in, you know, and see what is it to be a dog. Then I want to go in and see what it is to be a dog and go into that experience. There's all these fucking these people who talk to pets, the animal communicators, and so many that have talked to cats. The cats are like, I mean, they've been kings and royals and all this stuff. They aren't just like animals. They're other beings. They're other they're, you wouldn't just say human, because that gives this idea that, you know, it's just a human is just like one of the gloves. If you go into a dressing room and there's tons and tons of gloves, a human is just one of the gloves. It's not the end all be all. That is that limitation of existence, to think that you are a human. You're not any more human than, you know, than you are anything. Everything, you're everything. Everything is you, and you are everything. And everything is by being in that experience and seeing yourself of what you are in that experience. What does that experience bring out in you? What does that experience give you back? And what do you learn and grow from that experience? So it's not, I just think it's, so many people look at it as like a prison and this trap and stuff like that. But your trap is what you create for yourself. It's your karma. It's your, you know, your entanglements with the other souls, and the not having the awareness of what it is that you put out comes back to you. And so when you change your attitude and you change your existence into having these concepts, then it changes your experience from feeling like you're in prison. But really, the prison guard is you. You're the one holding yourself back. There's nobody just holding you back. Yeah, in these darker, heavier vibration realms, yeah, the beings that are running these realms, they are very, what we would consider negative, because of the difference, you know, of in the light, it is about compassion, love, and not being judgmental, being there for each other. You know, it's very unity, collective consciousness, you know, hive mind. How do we work together and how do we make it better? And creating, that's where we're going into this big creation of this new existence. But in the lower, it is way more about control and what we've been going through, controlling our movements, controlling our time, them using our energy for them. But we don't stand up for ourselves. We don't say, hey, this is my energy. You don't get any of it. This is my existence. You don't get a cut in. You don't get a piece of pie. But we don't do that because of our own ignorance. So we get used by these other beings that are more sophisticated than we are. And so, but we can become aware, which is what's going on in this world, become aware so that we stop being ignorant. We stop just giving out of not pity. Like, we need to pity ourselves for our own ignorance, but to give it out of like, you know, not to just let something else take. But then watch it, look how this is playing out even in the micro macro of the whole thing with religion and people needing a savior and going on their knees and stuff. And there's a big stuff going on too with religion. A lot of these people are feeling like, you know, they're under attack and stuff like that. It's, you got to look at things from all different perspectives. You know, why is it you need a savior? Why do you need a group installation? Why do you need a book to rely on? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? Where did it come from? And, you know, everything is about questioning yourself to receive clarity. And so anyways, but the beings of the lower vibration, like I've said, we're coming into their world. We're coming into their time. And then we think, you know, with our big old egos that, yeah, they can't get me. They can't trick me. And then you get down here and they are good at it. They're superior in their own realm. This is their space of existence. And so, yeah, they can get you to fall in line, to become insecure, to forget who you are, to become their little slaves, to become their little robots. And it's you who has to connect back to yourself and be like, question, like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What is this place? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then when you start asking the questions, your higher self, your higher soul, your higher sense of self begins to answer them. And you have guides, you have guidance, you have like, you know, the sidelines that are cheering you on, trying to, you know, help you along your journey. So you're never alone. You're never being, you know, where nobody's watching. You're always being watched. You're never by yourself. You always have your higher self that is right there for you when you start trying to communicate with it or yourself. You know, when you try and communicate with yourself in a more intelligent, expansive way of trying to understand yourself, then yourself is there for you. So it isn't, you're not abandoned into hell and you're stuck here and that everything is working against you. No, you have a whole bunch that's working with you. And it's you. You are always your problem. And that's why going and trying to wait for a savior is where the work needs to be on you. Like, and that is just universal law. You can't hand shit over to somebody else. So there's nobody that can come in and save you from yourself. And then we have that experience that plays out in the micro macro of our lives and of existence. You know, and this is going on with somebody who I know right now. You know, they're desperate to save this person. I was like, but this person doesn't see anything's wrong. You can't save somebody who doesn't want to be saved. You can't save somebody from themselves. When the individual steps up and goes, hey, I don't like what's going on here. I don't like what I've done with my life. I don't like how it's going. I want change. Where do I go? How do I change? What do I do? Then that's a whole nother thing. But another thing I can see so clearly is that the savior complex is got lessons. They're learning. Both individuals are learning from these situations. And but they also keep themselves trapped. But you keep yourself trapped thinking like, well, I'm better than them. I've got to save them. What are they going to do without me? See how it's a savior complex? You know, like, oh, they can't figure it out for themselves. You don't even give them space to figure it out for themselves. You're too busy trying to sweep the floor in front of them. It's like, let them fall. Let them figure it out. Let them become uncomfortable. You cannot convince somebody that their life is not good enough when they feel like it is. And so you got to let them come to that to themselves. And when they do, that's a whole nother level. When somebody decides that they want to save themselves, they want change, they want to do something different, then they step up. It's not a battle anymore. And when you're spending all this time trying to battle somebody to convince them that their life's not good enough, it's like you probably are distracting yourself from your own life. And you need to focus more on yourself. But these are the entanglements that people are here to experience and to try and figure out, and you learn from them. But you gotta let go. You know, there is nobody, you aren't here to save anybody, and there's nobody coming to save us. It is us who has to step up for ourselves. And it's, and I don't know how all this stuff is going to play out. You know, I know that the world that we exist in primarily at this point in time is going away. It's dissolving. It's ending. It's going. And that is the people who hold on like, well, I've got a piece of paper that says I have value. I need this job. It's like, well, it's going. This whole place is fucking dissolving. It's all going away. And when you want to hold on to it, well, then that is your vibrate. You're creating that vibe. That's the vibration, and that's where you will go. You know, you okay, fine. You gotta hold on to it. Then you'll go to some other realm and you play it out. Go there and do it some more. It's like it's just the way it is. It's like, and you can see it's the people's own interference. It's their own ignorance that keeps them where they are. And so that is the whole thing of the soul's journey, is journeying back to itself, journeying back to its sovereignty, journeying back to its own intelligent mind, its own state of being. But when you are dependent on somebody else doing the work for you, then that is something that is something that holds you back. So everything is about the soul becoming its own independence, its own sovereign being, and overcoming all of these obstacles. But the obstacles come from within, and that is where you can always find the answers to the questions when you go inside, when you go internally, when you go into meditation, reflection, however you want to look at it, when you start talking to yourself. Which, you know, I mean, from the time you're a little kid, they try and tell you that it's weird to talk to yourself. It's not weird to talk to yourself. And it's not weird when somebody answers either. That's the way of the soul. Like, you have a communication. You have beings out there trying to communicate with you. And you have beings that are trying to interfere with the communication. So that's when you start taking that side of life more serious. Then you start making steps going in the right direction. But still, like I've said, there is no time. We have infinity. And there's like, the soul doesn't feel the pressure of time. Like, oh, I got to be there in an hour. What am I going to do? It's like, they don't care. They want to go through all the experiences because of the expansion, because of the expertise that they find themselves as. You know, it's like somebody being able to go to a dinner party, and no matter what the conversation is, they know about it. They know things. It's like, I don't know that you could ever know everything, because there's always an expansion. There's always more. There's always more to experience. There's always more opportunities. And that's what we're creating at this time. We're creating a new development, a new way of being, because it's not going to be like the Pleiades. It's not going to be like in Lyria or all these different places. It's going to be the earthlings that created this space from all their experiences that they learned here. And so it's going to be a new creation, a new way of life. And it'll be other beings and stuff that will be coming, but it won't be low vibration. The low vibration beings can't go into the high vibration. Because of those obstacles of control, and is like by the standards of the light, it's more of a hateful attitude. And so when you're going into the higher vibrations, you have to be the higher vibration. So anyways, I feel like I say this over and over and over, but every time when I see these people, it's just like, it's weird, because it feels like all these people look at things so backwards. It's like you're looking at everything from a human perspective, and human perspective is just your perspective at this moment in time. You're not even just human. You're not just a human. It's like, why would you just think of it through the eyes of a human when you're not a human? It's like, it's just an experience. It's just the outfit of the day. So I don't know. I just feel like that there's it really is so much more productive to really try and get into the mind of the orb, really try and get into the mind of the soul, really try and ask, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I waiting on a savior? Why do I feel like I'm inferior? Why do I feel like I can't save myself? Why do I feel like I'm bad if I'm a sinner? Where does sin come from? What is sin? Why would I think that sin is real? It is, you're sinning is, you're learning, you're through an experience. And so, and it may, you may go through certain sins over and over before it sinks in, before you see it from all perspectives, so that you can relieve yourself of that sin. So you can be like, oh, I'm out of that. I learned my lessons on that. But everything is about, learning your lessons, growing, expanding. So anyways, that's how I look at it. And and I don't know what more is going on in the world, but this Taylor Green out there. Oh yeah, and I had seen too. Okay, so on the Megyn Kelly saying that stuff. So then there's more expansion, because that's what I said. It's like some of these people are the catalyst to start communication, to start conversations. And so then I've seen in the conversations, well, those girls were, in a lot of places, they were of age of consent. And not only that, but those girls were bringing more of girls to the fucking realm. They were bringing them into the hostile environment. They were like, hey, yeah, come over here. You want to make a little money? And so, and they were all, trying to make money. They preyed on girls that were, insecure. A lot of them didn't have money and would do anything for money. And so, and then, but that's kind of like their lessons and stuff. And then once those girls went through that thing, and then they're like, well, I wouldn't have done that if I would have known. Well, that's life. There's so many things. Well, I wouldn't have done that if I wouldn't have known. We all, like, that's a thing. But the thing is it's going to come out that there's so much worse. It's so much worse than them just getting teenage girls. And then that's what, is kind of like the conversation angle that I've been hearing, is like, yeah, a bunch of teenage girls, maybe, I was making bad choices when I was a teenager. I'm lucky that shit didn't happen to me. And so, but that's where we got to come up with not judging. You don't know. When you walk in the shoes of somebody, you don't know what you'll do unless you are in those shoes. So to sit there and think like, well, I would never do that. Well, go walk in the shoes, go live that life, because you don't know. And that's why you don't want to be judgmental. And so, but then, people become, shame and guilt and feel bad and, wish they would have done something different. I wish I wouldn't have brought all those girls, but it seemed like, it's all that stuff. But anyways, this stuff is way worse, because it does have to do with, planting their seeds and, creating some kind of other race that's them or something. And then plus the stuff that they did more with, really little kids. And then the consumption. There's just a lot of bad shit, I mean, this whole fucking island thing is just, it's so minimal of the whole big scheme of rottenness. And yeah, it was, some fucked up shit, but all those souls came in to do all that fucked up shit and learn from each other. And but there's things are going to get way worse. Like I just saw somebody say, yo, you think that the stuff that went on the island was bad? Just wait till they bring out these laptops of these certain individuals who, are kind of like more ones that we've even heard of. Just think of how many of those laptops are people that we don't even know of. That's one thing I saw somebody saying too about some of the names that are on these lists and stuff that they are just shocked by. I mean, there's like scientists from MIT and all sorts of bigwig, like your Harvard professors and shit. And they're all in cahoots together. And they're all, and somebody was saying too, is why was that even, how is that even, you know, dark male when you have, girls that are the age of consent in a lot of other countries? How is that like, you know, well, we're going to get all that. It's like, no, it was a lure or something. It was like, oh, look it, we're having this great party. All these young, beautiful girls are there, but there's something more. There's something more that was going on. And so, and that I think is where, you know, the dark male is going to start coming out of like what was really on these people, what was, you know, running this world, because they were able to run this world by having all of this dark male on all these people. And how could you have that much dark male in somebody when somebody's the age of consent in so many countries? Like, and so many people, like, there are so many more, like, things coming out, like fucking Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Like, he's 26, 28 years old, and he's like together with a 14-year-old. Johnny Depp, when he was together with Winona Ryder, she was 17, he was 25 or 26, he was already divorced. It's like, there's so many of these young guys. Even on the 70s show, all those guys were after Mila when she was just a little kid, and they were all older. They were all like 26 years old and stuff, and she's like 14. And so and all these young girls that go into Hollywood, they just get passed around by these guys who are all in their later 20s. And it was the same experience I had when I was 16. It was all these older 20-year-olds that were all around. So anyways, I don't know. I don't know how, I mean, it just is, I don't know how it is. Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot worse things that are going to be what people had the dark male on them for. Because, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things continue to play out. But I know that the big crimes, you know, that have the biggest consequence is these ones that are against the beings that we are, because of the tricks and stuff like that, and the lies and stuff, and then the TREASON, and then also stuff about the RICO. So it's a lot of gangster shit. And all of this stuff of keeping us trapped in their system, the banking system, and then inflation and all of that stuff, that's all been done as crimes. And so it gets really involved. And so, yeah, those people have got consequences. But that's the thing, is they were doing them for a long time. They were doing it and getting rich off of it for a long time. And they didn't give a fuck about the consequences. And the whole judicial and stuff was there to protect them. Well, their protection's gone. Their protection's all falling apart. And so now that's like, meet your consequences. And that's what I've said. Lies don't stay hidden. Things always come out. So that's what's going to go down. So we'll see. We'll see what this weekend brings us. No telling. I mean, I'm always sitting there riding hard on the, you know, this collapse of the economy and the med beds and the changing our direction on our health and stuff. And it just is, you know, slowly we move, slowly we turn. So, but at some point, is like, it can feel like we're just barely going slowly, but it's going to flip. And once it flips, that's going to be a lot more dramatic. And that is like, we're right on the edge of the flipping. And so, and we still have this separation thing that's going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but I just really think that there's no reason to be all in fear of reincarnation when you're looking at it from a human perspective and not looking at it from a soul's perspective. And I don't know, there's so much more, because all these people, like, I've seen people, oh, there's no such thing as 3D, 4D, 5D, there's no such thing as other dimensions, there's no such, it's like, okay, it's like, I don't know, stay wherever, you know, I don't even know. It's like, I see things so different, and I just hear these people saying stuff, and it's like, I don't even know where do you get your information? What are you coming up with this stuff? So, anyways, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see what happens today. We'll see what happens this weekend. And I'm sure there'll be stuff happening. So we'll just see. But I'm saying just don't get too caught up in all the dramas. I mean, it holds you back. Just move through. Just go with the flow. When something's in flow, it's not stagnant. It doesn't stop. When it stops, it starts to create debris. And so you don't want to be stuck somewhere. Just move through. Stay with the flow of everything happening. Oh, now we're here. Oh, we're over there. We're over here. We're over there. We're over here. Over there. We're all over the place. And it's a lot. And it does feel very chaotic. And it is affecting us. Our body's soul, mind, it's affecting us. And so, anyways, I'm going to spend the day doing some resting. Like, God, I feel like shit. I can't believe how bad my throat hurts. And so, anyway, I mean, it's always got this lingering bullshit. But this, like, it came in like a sickness kind of sore throat. So, anyways, but I'm telling you, just making sure that you are, I mean, the purging out your old self is letting go. And letting go is the creation of the new or evolved self. And that, in order to do that, you have to learn how to love yourself. You have to learn how to let go of shit and learn how to love yourself. And next step, learning how to love everybody. Let go of your bitterness. Let go of your resentment. Learn how to love everybody. Accept them. Just accept everybody. And learning how to have the day you want to have. Where it is you focus your energy is where you're going to have your day. So learn how to focus your energy on the day you want to have. And don't get caught in the turmoil. So anyways, but we'll see. Whatever's going to go down will go down. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.